Hello, I'm APX and welcome back to QnA Saturday. This is the weekly series I run on my channel where I answer your questions that have been asked over the past week or so, all the way across my channel, and mostly in the comment section of the last week's Q&A. So this is a fun opportunity for me to have this weekly back and forth and answer questions that you tend to have about the next update, which in this case is Update Aquatic, but also Update Aquatic Phase 2, and also about the whole Minecraft Bedrock / Minecraft console edition switchover, which is still in the process of happening. So hopefully you'll enjoy this video, like if you do like it, because it helps out the channel a lot, lets me know you do like this fun little back and forth, and let's get straight into the very first question, which comes in from Angel Cool Dude. He's a cool dude and he's an angel because he says, Q, can you still fish books? Because you said that the better way to fish is with a sword and trident, but what about fishing books? So yeah, it is correct that in the current update, it's much faster to fish using a sword or using a trident or using really anything because fish are a killable mob. However, if you want to get the other stuff from fishing, such as lily pads, or you want to get those treasure enchantments, then yes, the best way to do so is still to use a fishing rod, and because you can still fish books in this update. However, it's worth keeping in mind, one, you should only ever be fishing with Luck of the Sea now, because if you want to get more fish, again, the lure enchantment is now kind of less useful, because you want Luck of the Sea, you're willing to put in more time to get more enchanted books. And the second thing to keep in mind is that if you want any given enchanted book, say one for your trident, then it's worth keeping in mind that the odds have changed for every single book. Because they introduced new books into the game, the odds of getting any given existing book have gone down, so just keep in mind that if you want to find Frostwalker or you want to find Mending, your odds of doing so have gone down slightly, but the best way is still to fish or to trade or do any of the normal methods. You can still do that though. Hopefully that answers your question, but let's move into the second one, which comes in from Lord Pineapple, the man who is in charge of all the pineapples in the world, because he says, do you think Update Aquatic came out on Bedrock early by order of Microsoft to increase hope and or sales of Bedrock? So I don't think it necessarily increased sales on the Bedrock, although that could have been possible, but I think there definitely was an intentional ploy here where like, oh yeah, well, Aquatic Update is coming out at the same time on all platforms, but that obviously excludes the Phase 1 from Bedrock, which is going to come out a bit early, and I think the exciting thing about that is it means that if you want to play the Aquatic Update right now, you have to play Bedrock, and the reason that's a big deal for Microsoft is because it means that more and more people will switch over just to try it out, at least for the next couple of weeks, and maybe some people will stick. That's, maybe that's the cynic part of me just taking over, but I really do think that's the only reason that you'd split the update into two, so you can have it released at the same time, and then release it early anyway. It's the only logical pattern, and although it sounds evil, or like it sounds like a scheming ploy by, some Microsoft man trying to make some money, I think it actually makes some sense on like, oh yeah, how do you push forwards one platform over others? You just, work extra hard on it, and you try to release updates early so that people want to switch rather than being forced. I think it's much better than all the other things that, have kind of made people go to Bedrock. So in general, even though it sounds weird on the surface, I'm actually kind of on board with it. But that's why I think they've done it. I haven't heard any other reason for it, and we haven't really heard much about why it just randomly released. So that is my opinion. So let's move into the third question, which comes in from John TGZ, who says, wait, you did college for computer science, but how did you end up playing Minecraft? So yeah, it sounds a bit weird because you might assume like, well, I mean, if you're playing Minecraft on YouTube, then clearly something went wrong somewhere, right? But the truth is that while I was doing college and while I was in school, or sixth form in the UK, I was actually doing Minecraft videos on the side because, again, I've always wanted, I've always, enjoyed playing games. I've always enjoyed making YouTube videos, and, slowly as I was through school, the YouTube channel got bigger and better. I started putting more and more of my time into it, and I was doing both things at the same time. It was really time consuming to go to school or college all day, then to come home and spend as much of that time making videos as possible, but it was something I really enjoyed, so it was something I continued doing all the way through school and college, and then towards the end of college, because I had this whole like career path mapped out, like, well, I'm going to go to university, I'm going to get a degree, try and do some generic like IT job where I barely have to do anything, or whatever the goal was going to be there. It was like, okay, that's the kind of career progression. And then just towards the end of college, the YouTube channel exploded, and I was like, I'm going to go all in on YouTube, I think. And so I went from doing one video a day and sometimes two to like 2 videos every single day. And yeah, it was a big commitment, a big investment, but it's one that's worked out for me. Like, I now do one of my favorite things in the world every single day, and that's how I have a computer science qualification as well as some networking stuff. But yeah, I make Minecraft videos because I was doing those at the same time I had started my YouTube channel, and that's what I'd always recommend to anyone. Like, if you're starting a YouTube channel, always do the other thing as well, because the odds of this thing happening was always a rare thing. And at least and I have the backup plan for when this all goes away in like a year or two, when people stop caring about whatever I have to say. So yeah, that's why I am qualified in computer science but play Minecraft. Hopefully that answers your question. Let's move into the next one, which comes in from Nathan63637. A nice long name you've got there. I wonder if it was chosen by you or is like a default one that a game gave you. But yeah, he says, will split screen come to Bedrock? And to answer your question, Nathan, I believe there's some murmurings about it, but it's very unlikely in the future. And given that split screen is kind of like a dying trend in general, and given that Minecraft is cross-platform across phones, where if you wanted to play split screen, you wouldn't need to play it on that way. I think split screen is very unlikely because it only applies to Xbox and Switch players, who are a small percentage of the overall player base, and it only applies to specifically people who want to play multiple players on the same console. And the the requirements to get it set up are quite high. So odds of it happening are fairly low in the future. It's one of the few things where they've said, yeah, we'll probably have to drop that. And it sounds sad on the surface, but who knows? It could always come. It's just right now it seems unlikely. But let's move into the fifth question, which comes in from Gaming Stats, kind of relates to the, like the YouTube thing, because he says, oh, I assume they say, QnA, will you still be doing YouTube in 40 years? So the answer to this question is like probably not, or statistically not, because in 40 years, the odds of YouTube being like a viable thing are really low. The odds of me somehow still being around in it are potentially just as low. So yeah, because in 40 years, I'll also be 62 or 63, which, very, very old, old man YouTubing right there. Maybe it's a thing. Maybe there'll be people who are like, oh, I used to watch you when I was like 15 and now I'm 55 and I still like videos. But I really doubt that's a possibility. So I don't know how, many years there is between now and the end of YouTube. I hope it's somewhere in the 5, 10, 15 range, in the dream world. But yeah, it's something where like 40 years is definitely a bit too far down the line. And this is actually something interesting that I've heard, like some YouTubers be like, yeah, YouTube's going to be there my whole life. And I think it's like, maybe not. But given how fickle the internet is, who knows what we'll be doing in 40 years? Maybe we won't have a world in 40 years. Maybe we won't have an internet in 40 years. Who really knows for sure right now? All I know is that for the foreseeable future, I do intend to continue it. And then in 40 years, it won't be the case, I don't imagine. So let's move into the next question, which comes in from Mino Asal, who says, what are your thoughts about the new YouTube changes? So the new YouTube changes presumably are being spoken about the, the subscription box. It's now changing from being all of your subscriptions in order to being the subscriptions shown in a non-chronological order. So just random videos here based on what YouTube thinks you want to watch in your subscription box. And I'd be really down with this change in theory if we didn't already have a homepage, which basically functions that way already. It's like, here are some subscriptions, here are some other videos, here are some subscriptions, here are some other videos. And you might think, why would YouTube do that? Why would YouTube take the one place that's just the videos you want to see from your subscriptions, and even then, like, usually, and why would they ruin that? And I think the answer is clear. The same reason Instagram changed their feed from being chronological to non-chronological, the reason Twitter hates the fact it's that way, the reason Facebook did it all those years ago, is because if you make it chronological, if you just show everyone their subscriptions, like it does right now, you look at your subscriptions, you're like, there's some stuff in there I care about, but, it's all gone now. I'll check back in 12 hours. And YouTube doesn't want you to leave the platform. Instagram doesn't want you to leave the platform. It wants you to think, if I keep scrolling, I will find something that I'll watch. It wants to be an infinite source of stuff, and that's a really dangerous thing. I don't like that every social media wants to consume your entire life. I think that's a bad thing, even though, as someone who makes a living on YouTube, like, yeah, it's better for me if more people watch more videos. I think it's a dangerous path for, like, every social media to try and be every single part of your life. Why can't YouTube just be that place where you hang out for a few hours in the evening, you have a great time, or even, a few hours in the day as well, a few hours in the afternoon, but not to try and be like, oh, I have to keep watching YouTube all day or I might miss something that I care about. That's something that's a little bit dangerous in my opinion, and it's something that I think is going to happen, like, because, YouTube has all the power and us as content creators just have to be like, well, I guess, that kills my viability as a channel. But it's something where it's just like, it's a thing that happens. I've kind of accepted it. I'm at peace with it. But I also really don't like that every social media does stuff like this, because it's not good for the users. It's only good for the platform, and it's even bad for the users. It's bad for, like, I would say, the world as a whole, and I don't like when companies make bad decisions for the world, personally speaking at least. So let's move into the next question, which comes in from Rosemary, who says, if you could add 3 features to Minecraft, what would they be? Also explain why would you add them. So to answer your question, also there's cheers at the end there, nice little British send off there. So let me just go with the very first one, which has to be new ores in Minecraft, new, like, underground features of that variety, because having something new to find, something new to build with, that would be great. I love mining in Minecraft, but I just don't feel the need to much these days. Maybe I've just done it too much, or maybe that's the reason, but I feel like having new stuff underground, new types of caves, that would be great. So yeah, I'm gonna take 2 of the features and say, if you add new ores, something rare to find, something super, like different types of rarity, I guess, that'd be wonderful. And also add new caves and new underground structures to find them in. The first time you find a ravine, it's amazing. The 5th time you find a ravine, it's still pretty cool. But the 100th time, it's not that great. So if you just add, like a 15 underground structures, they don't even have to be that complex. Just different types of caves, different things you can find. Then Minecraft Underground feels more interesting. And if you have some of those structures, sometimes have higher percentage chances of spawning with a certain ore, boom, you've got an amazing underground system. And I think the underground system is very much underdeveloped. It's been left the same for so many years now, and since I get a third feature, because it's 3 features for the price of 1, it's like a magic genie. I get to just keep on picking here. I guess I'm going to pick a new dimension, because with a new dimension, you could add its whole own, branch of content, like, oh, a new base block, a new boss mob that could be fought there. I feel like there definitely does need to be some further the end game stuff in Minecraft. That's mostly what I feel like, because I've obviously played the game a whole bunch, and I like the challenges in Minecraft. I think we need more stuff like that. So more mining, because I like mining, and more challenges, because I like challenges. That's an easy explanation right there, and hopefully you enjoy that. But let's move into the next one, which comes in from Reigns3102, who says, Toycat, will Mojang ever do a tutorial level in Bedrock? So to answer your question, Reigns3102, the tutorial level in Minecraft Console Edition is one of my favorite bits of the game, and I really would love to see a tutorial level for Bedrock, and I think we've seen the tiniest murmurings about it. Like, unlike Split Screen, which is like, oh yeah, just ignore that, never coming, the tutorial level's always been like, that would be nice sort of thing. And keep in mind that after 4G Studios has finished this next update, which they'll be doing fairly soon, they are going to be working exclusively on Minecraft Bedrock and Minecraft PS4. So given that that is the case, given that those two things are going to be their key priority, maybe it makes sense for the tutorial level to come over to Bedrock and be kind of like a hybrid system, so it's a tutorial for both systems at the same time. I love that personally. I think given that one of the best things 4J did for console was make this world, and given that the tutorial world, it doesn't exist on Minecraft Bedrock besides that one little experiment they did all the way back, I think it is entirely possible to see a tutorial level, and I don't even think it's possible. I think in the next 2 or 3 years, we will see a tutorial. It's just a question of like how good it is, and hopefully it's, got the music discount, it's got all the other cool stuff, and yeah, I think we will see one, but it's just not a near future plan. But let's move into the final question, which comes in from VIP Man YT, who says, do you ever get bored of doing a Q&A every week? Surely the questions are all the same. So I always like Q&A Saturday because I pick questions that, we're going to have some fun with, that I enjoy answering, and or I feel like I can help answering. I will say though, this week, picking the questions was probably the worst experience I've had in a while. I read 780 YouTube comments as well as 100 tweets at me, and out of those, so many of them were just the same two-dimensional, not a question, or it'd be something like, oh yeah, this is the question you asked last week, or it's something that's like, I've answered this in so many videos, like, oh, when's the aquatic update coming out for PlayStation 3? And it's like, it's a very specific platform you're asking for, and I've already said the latest we know, we don't know anymore, and yeah, I kind of get why these things are asked, but let me just ask right now. So the comment section of every Q&A Saturday video is dedicated for questions for next week. If you're watching this right now, try and ask a question, just a wild, wacky, different one. We're going to get some really weird ones in there, like someone's going to take it a bit too far. It's going to be strange and confusing, but next week, let's make Q&A Saturday, a little bit different, a little bit wacky, a little bit fun. If you have a different Minecraft question you don't know if anyone's asked, or you want to ask about something that's upcoming but you're not too sure about it, or you want to ask just a wild question that has never been asked before, now is your opportunity, because again, I feel like we've had some really good Q&As recently, but this one I was just like, oh my god, these questions, it took me literally like an hour to find the ones that I picked that I thought were actually pretty good, and yeah, I'd like to have a bit more fun with next week. So that's what I'm saying right now. Maybe you shouldn't say this in the video, maybe you should, I don't know for sure, but I hope you all enjoyed the video regardless. Like it if you did like it, share if you liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if subscribed, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.